What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? It's your man Drake Mack coming to you again with another episode of the Drake Mack Show. And of course, I am your host, Drake Mack. And we are going to talk about T'Challa. We're going to actually talk about Black Panther number 2 today. Not just the comic. I'm not going to go over the comic, just in 2 issues. How Eve Ewing has proven how you can write about Wakanda and T'Challa and still be successful. And I'm also going to go over some DC news from CBR. I think it's going to be very interesting that we talk about that today. Hopefully, you guys are happy. Hopefully, you guys are healthy. You already know what it is, man. Shout out to my man Heavy Gam for that. And you guys are having a good start to your Friday. Of course, this is the premiere. So make sure you're giving this video a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. And if you got more arms than that, give them all thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like the my commentary or whatever, give it a thumbs down. Tell me what you think about it in the comment section. I ain't got no problem hitting that comment section up. But this is a good take on and a good look for, going over this Black Panther news. And this actually gives me hope. And I'm gonna talk about this in the review, but this gives me hope that T'Challa is coming back stronger than ever, and hopefully he comes back like this in the actual movies too. But you already know what it is. You know how it is. You know what we get ready to do. The real question is, all right, all right, all right. Trying to get some things together here. Again, like I said, man, I hope you guys are having a good rest of a good start to your day. I mean, this is Friday, 11 o'clock, on the Central Time. If you're on the East Coast time, it's going to be noon. And if you're on the West Coast time, it's 9 o'clock your time, but hopefully, like I said, this particular conversation makes sense. Um, Especially like I said, what I like what Eve Ewing is doing right now for T'Challa and actually for the world of Wakanda, because she did make an emphasis, and I believe she was on the Black Comic Lords podcast. Don't let me get that wrong. I could be wrong, but I want to say it's the Comic Lords podcast, and she made an emphasis on there to talk about the world of Wakanda. And of course, you know, us in the recast T'Challa movement, we're like, hey, don't forget about T'Challa in this. And so far, so good. She is building this world up of Wakanda and making sure that T'Challa is the main focal point of the story, which has been really good. And I'm gonna go over some clips of the comic and everything. I mean, the comic came out like the last Wednesday, so I mean this is a weekend, so this is good to kind of get into and everything. But what I want to start off with first is a little bit of this DC information. So let me pull this up real quick and let's talk about it. Just give me just a second here and let's get into this DC news. Let me try to move my camera. Yeah, so let's move it this way. Just a little bit. I don't know why I do that. I get this box out the way. I just got a couple of new figures in too. I got Braun in, and I got a couple figures from the Turtles comic line too. So I'm starting to post more in my collection. If you guys want me to talk about stuff that's in my collection, because you see it back here. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind to, man. All you got to do is let me know, who you want, what, you want me to cover, and I'll do it. You know what I mean? I have no problem with that. All right. So let me share my screen real quick for this. And this is from CBR. This is from yesterday. And this is just 10 things that the DCU needs to do to succeed. And technically, I want the DCU to succeed. I actually have faith in James Gunn, in what he could do with characters. Like I said, he had us invested in a talking raccoon in a tree that just said, I am Groot. So I truly believe that he has a lot of stuff that he could be able to offer the DCU, especially those years that he spent in Marvel. So let's go over this. I'm gonna full screen this real quick and let's talk about it. Get that out of the way. All right. So let me just read this real quick. The DCU is looking to make a fresh start of things after the disaster of the previous cinematic universe, the DCEU. Audience everywhere failed to connect with the old universe. The Flash box office numbers prove that fans have all but given up on DC. James Gunn's new universe needs to find success where others' attempts have failed. And I won't say that it was all bad, it was just misguided because you did have your Snyder fans, you know what I mean? And they did get the Snyder Cut release. So I can give them props on that for doing that. So DC holds some of the most iconic heroes and villains in comics, yet it has continued to squander them on screen. By sticking to the basics and following the source material, James Gunn and Peter Safran have a much better chance of connecting with the hardcore fans and new audience members. So let's see what he talks about. DC heroes need a sense of hope, and I'm gonna be honest with you. One of the reasons why it was hard to connect to certain heroes in DC is that they're too OP, and it's not a humanistic aspect to them. You know what I mean? It's not like they really go through human problems. I mean, they're literally gods among men. But how can you humanize this person where I can be able to connect? And that's one of the reasons I had so many problems with Superman, because I just felt like he was Superman in comics. And this is talk about the later comics. He just was too OP, so I went back to Batman. You know what I'm saying? And you start looking at the psychological portion of Batman. Then I was cool with that. Joker, all of that. But everybody else is just like, you know what I mean? It's just something has me disconnected. So I want this to succeed so I can go back and say, okay, what did my man Thanos say? Maybe I judged you too harshly. You know what I mean? So it's that for me. That's my disconnect from DC. You know what I mean? So let's get into this and let's see what it says. All right, despite the long and dark shadow that Batman casts, most of the DC heroes are incredibly hopeful. This is something that has been sorely lacking from the earlier films of the DCEU. The tone was grim, dark, and it made it feel as if the heroes cared nothing for the people they were protecting. While this is somewhat corrected later on in Wonder Woman and even The Flash, it never felt organic considering their origins in the universe. Gunn's DCU, especially Superman Legacy, needs to show audiences that the heroes believe in humanity and have hope for the future. That's good. That's good. Number 9, Gunn needs to bring color to superhero costumes. That is also true. Golly. I don't have a problem with Man of Steel. I actually really like Man of Steel. I just don't think it's a good Superman. I think it's a pretty decent movie. But when it comes to when it comes to the mythos of Superman, the Superman part is there, kinda, but the Clark Kent was missing. There was no color. It was grim and it was dark and gritty. And I understand that, like in a Batman film, especially like Matt Reeves Batman film, or you know what I'm saying, even Batman v Superman. Because I think when I look at Batman v Superman, I was looking at it from Batman's point of view, and Superman was a potential threat, and he had to have a contingency program against this guy or take him out because it's based on what happened. But the other stuff is just Wonder Woman, except for Wonder Woman 1985, which was very colorful, very bright, very terrible to me. I did not like it. You know what I mean? I like Pedro Pascal, but other than that, yeah. Oh, that was hard. That was man. It's like a complete step backwards. It didn't even seem like it was in the same universe. But Aquaman was very colorful. I actually really liked the first Aquaman. You know what I mean? But let's see what they say. I'm going off on my own little tangent. Well, let's see what they say. For some reason, most comic book movies, especially in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Snyderverse, seem to be terrified of adding color to the superhero costumes. The MCU has famously dull color palettes, and the costumes that are brightly colored in one film are immediately diluted in the next. The Snyderverse cover everything in tints of blue and gray, leaving everything feeling washed out. Gunn can set the DCU apart by adding splash of color to the world and the costumes. Put Batman in the gray and blue instead of black. Have Superman in a bright red trunks and a golden S on the cape. Yes, that would be dope. Oh my god, I will probably flip my lid if he has that on the back of his cape. I would lose it. Making the world feel bright and vibrant will help also bring a sense of hope to the universe. Now, I don't agree with him as far as when he said that the MCU is famously dull color palettes. Like, I can understand Captain America, but then if you look at like Thor's costume has never been bright in the comics. But if you go to Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man's costume is very bright and colorful. Even though that was a newer take, it was very colorful for that debut, and actually people really like that costume. You look at, let's see, who actually had I'm trying to think. Iron Man suit. Maybe he got a point. Captain America's, but it's Cap. So, but it's not like, to me, the MCU has always been more colorful than DCEU. So let's keep going. Let me keep going. All right, here's the big one. This is what we've been talking about. Marvel fans, if DC does this, they can surpass the MCU immediately. And that is respect the comic books. If they respect the comic books and the source material, because they own all the characters, so they could do what they want to do, you know what I mean? But do it where it respects the source material. I mean, good God Almighty, you could create a monster in DC that will bring people flooding back, and Marvel will have to do nothing but pivot. Which, again, why I want the DCU to prevail. Let's read this. The DC films of the past seem to have gone out of their way to forget the source material that the characters come from. The comics are rarely promoted, and even if they are, the films are so different that they are initially unrecognizable as the same thing. While adaptations can obviously take some liberties, the comics need to be acknowledged. Gunn has already gone out of his way to promote the comics he is building his first chapter off of. The Phil's fans with a lot of hope that they're also be creating more comic accurate films. I'm telling you this now. If the DCU can pull that off, they would literally surpass the MCU, because everybody who are Marvel fans, and shout out to all the people who are you know what I'm saying, who come in the chat, who's probably in the chat right now, watch this on the premiere, or who's going to comment later on. Tell me this. If you got more comic accurate movies out of Marvel, we wouldn't be complaining. But if Marvel keeps pivoting, they don't reset the universe after Civil War, and DCU comes out like gangbusters with comic accurate stories, man, I'm telling you this, and it's not like, and let's keep it real, it's not like the DCU hasn't done this before. Look at all the Warner Brother cartoon movies. They're damn near as close as it possibly can be as a comic adaptation on film. Is just the animated side. You do that in live action, you're surpassing this. You're going to surpass the MCU, and we're going to start the Monday Night Wars all over again. And damn it, will I be excited? Then I can get on board. Then I can start. Man, I might get invested in some of these characters in DC. But for right now, I'm just not invested. You know what I mean? And it's sad. I got a stack full of comics. There's no DC in that and I feel kind of bad, but I'm not invested. You know what I mean? But hopefully, maybe a movie could make me. And this is why it's so important. Recast T'Challa, and you know what I mean? Because when you tell stories that also talks about the comics and has comic accurate stories, like the first half of the let's look at Iron Man. Even though Iron Man in this iteration when it came out was was captured by the 10 rings, and it was like based on like the Afghan war and all of that, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? It still followed a lot of things that the source material, it took liberties, but it did pull strictly from the source material. You know what I mean? And that was awesome. I rewatched Thor the Dark World. And I think I'm gonna pull movies from the MCU that I said maybe I treated you too harshly. I'm gonna have that Thanos pulling. Maybe I treated you too harshly. Because, even though Malekith, there's another villain that died. That movie is actually really good. I went back and really watched it with a different eye. Oh my God. Uh I watched it with a different eye this time because now, we're years away from that movie came out. We've seen, where the character is grown. Um, and to me, Taika Waititi jumped the shark in the last movie. Thor: The Dark World used to be, the one that was, yeah, it was cool, but it's actually way better than what I expected. It's not Ragnarok because it had a certain tone and a certain mix, but as far as like, the character interactions, the drama, again, now that we're post Endgame and we know how Thor felt when Frigga died, it hits even differently when you go back and watch it. So I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, I really treated this movie way entirely too harsh. So this is what the DCU needs to do. The DCU needs to come out with these stories to make us gravitate towards these characters. Make them, especially if you're going to be using the comic book story. Why is this so important? Why is this character? We need to fall in love with Superman again because Superman is a character who, wants to be Clark Kent. You know what I mean? He wants to be Clark Kent. Kind of, that's who he really is. Superman is just what he needs to be. Just like how Batman is Bruce Wayne is really Batman. And Bruce Wayne is the persona. And why that dynamic works. You know what I'm saying? Do the double date thing that they did in the comics. I had double date. I think it was after Rebirth, where Catwoman and Lois Lane go out with Superman and Batman. Is one of the greatest comics. I had no fighting, no nothing, just great stuff, great writing. You know what I mean? So let me get off of this. The number 7 is focus more on characters than just Batman. And I'm not mad at him for this because again, you can't have Batman just a focal point of the universe. I get it. He's one of the most popular, but it was a time where Superman was the most popular. You know what I mean? So let's get to what they're saying. Batman is undoubtedly one of the most popular characters of all time, certainly of the DC franchise. There has been more Batman films than any DC property, much like Spider-Man for Marvel. Batman took over the Man of Steel's spiritual sequel, Batman v Superman, and he did it again in The Flash with the return of Michael Keaton. There's also the Batman Part 2 still on its way. While Batman will factor into James Gunn's plans, the DC franchise has so many fascinating characters beyond just Batman. Exploring Swamp Thing, Hawkman, Vixen, or Wonder Girl is a chance to tell new and more interesting stories. Something that the MCU hasn't done. And then when they did, some of the stuff was hit and miss. So, DC, you got a chance. Number 6, the DCU should embrace sidekicks. Absolutely. Let's get into this. Sidekicks is a huge part of DC Comics and DC history. Robin, Aqualad, Kid Flash are just examples, a few examples of many sidekicks that live in the DC universe. These sidekicks have a larger function than just adding into another superhero to the mix. In Robin's case, he is the light that contrasts Batman's darkness. He allows Batman to see more than just the crime that consumes the city. Bringing more sidekicks to the DCU was certainly separated from any previous iterations, which have avoided sidekicks religiously. If the DCU was looking to be drastically different from its adaptations that came before, then including sidekicks in a prominent role would do that. And I think that's awesome. Yeah, we might have to do this 15 biggest disappointments in the MCU phase 4. I might have to do a separate video for that. Number 5, the DCU needs an actual plan. Yes, have a plan. Let's see what this says. One of the biggest downfalls of the DCEU is that nothing seemed planned. Everything seemed to be happening for no rhyme or reason. The MCU has been meticulously planned out, even if Phase 4 doesn't feel like it. This is why I talked about it on yesterday's video. It doesn't feel like it. I think that's done on purpose because this universe is unraveling. This is why I said, you know what I'm saying? It's not dead yet. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the reason. All right, it says this has been a key to its success. Gunn is already on top of this. He has laid out his plan for Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, and how each project will set stage for a larger story. This is fascinating news as long as the studio sticks to the plan. Being carefully layered projects, it can allow for more in-depth character development and for characters to be to better overlap with each other. Phil Coulson was able to have an impact on all the Avengers because he was layered throughout the films. The DCU lacks that connective tissue that a plan would bring. And that is true. That's what phase 4, you know what I'm saying, has lacked a lot of. Don't rush the Justice League. The DCU was in a rush to do everything. The universe felt it needed to, good Lord. The universe felt like it needed to catch up with the MCU. In doing so, it skipped many crucial steps. There was zero character development or world building. The characters were introduced in one film, and their entire story was expected to be fleshed out instead of just introduced. Heroes like Superman and Batman were taken out of the toy chest and tossed on screen. The reason the MCU had so much success is that it was patient. It took its time building to the Avengers. Excuse me. The DCU needs to take notice of this and not rush to not rush to Justice League. Excuse me. Excuse me. And not rush to Justice League. Let each character stand alone and find a way to organically bring the team together. Forcing the Justice League together makes it feel like a cheap experience. By having an organic catalyst for the team's creation, it makes it feel more authentic. DC has been down the universe building before and has found success. Now, this is where they need to find a success at. Just not in the films, but both the Arrowverse and the DCAU created incredibly universes that truly represented the characters and the comics. And that's what I was talking about earlier. If the excuse me, if the DCU is going to be anything, take from what was good was DC's animated universe and the Arrowverse. And I think they will be awesome at that. The Arrowverse built a successful multiverse and was able to tackle massive comic book events. They did better than the movies. Let's keep it real. It kept fans intrigued for over a decade before it ended with the Flash's final season. The DCAU brought together classic animated series and showed the power of the animated format. Gunn has already stated that the DCU will be including animation, with Creature Commandos being the first animated series in the new universe, which I think that's going to be amazing. Just in my perspective. All right, so explore the weird corners of DC Comics. Beyond the Trinity, DC has so many interesting stories and characters that are weird and wonderful. There are mystical characters of Justice League Dark or the creepy characters like Solomon Grundy. The DCU needs to be willing to take big risks on more unknown weird characters. Creature Commandos and Swamp Things are good steps in this direction. Yet bringing in a character like Detective Chimp or Deadman can add a whole new dynamic that DC hasn't had before, and the MCU hasn't had either. Which I have no idea who Detective Chimp is or Deadman. So that would be neat if they did that. The DCU doesn't need doesn't need one shot villains. Let's see what he means on this one. The old style of doing comic book movies, even in the MCU, was to have a one shot. It was to have one shot villains. These villains would show up for one film, be defeated, and never heard from again. That is very true. Unless you're Loki or Red Skull, and then he came as a floating guy in the Infinity War. This is a great way that the DCEU wastes good characters, good actors, and great characters. One of the biggest, most consistent complaints of the MCU is that so many great villains were used once and never again. Red Skull, Abomination, and Ultron are a few examples how the MCU failed as villains. The DCU needs to do better. Instead, the DCU should focus on creating long-term villains. Lex Luthor, the Joker, Brainiac, Sinestro, and Darkseid can all be villains that can appear repeatedly and have long-lasting effects in the universe. This will make it feel more authentic and far less wasteful. And that is, excuse me, that is true with the MCU. Look at Gore the God Butcher, completely wasted, and besides it looking terrible, completely wasted. And there's other characters that's in that too. That's not Loki, or a couple other characters, but you know, Killmonger was a prime example. Now in the comics, technically Killmonger doesn't survive either, so it's not. I'm not that big. You know what I'm saying? On Killmonger, coming back like that because he's, once he was defeated, he was defeated. You know what I mean? So, but there's other characters, that could have had long lasting effects in the universe that they didn't really use. And I think that that's a problem that the DCU can fix. And if the DCU can fix that, then we got something, like I said, we got something great on our hands, especially characters, like Thanos, picks up from Avengers, the end of Avengers, all the way to Avengers Endgame. You know what I mean? And that's a great way to be able to use that villain. They made him look comic accurate or close or as close as comic accurate without looking ridiculous. Um, but also in that same tone, you also have characters that you could use, like if Magneto's going to be in this universe, just lock the characters up. Lock the characters, instead of killing them off and all of that, lock the characters up. So that way, you know what I'm saying? They can be used in the future projects. You know what I mean? So speaking of that, speaking of characters, let's get into Eve Ewing's run of Black Panther. Hold on, give me a second. Let's get into this run because I think Eve Ewing is showing us how to be able to build Wakanda and rebuild T'Challa based on what He Who Shall Not Be Named did to the character. Let's be real. He completely destroyed that character. It is what it is. With that being said, let's go back and let's look and let's see how this, how Eve Ewing is doing this. Now, let me just say this. The first thing that I like is that they wanted to show the world of Wakanda, right? That's been the big thing. Let's explore the world of Wakanda. Wakanda forever. Let's explore the world of Wakanda. Wakanda, Wakanda, Wakanda. And I'm digging that, not taking that away from anything because that's a big emphasis in the MCU, right? The world of Wakanda. But what does that look like in comic book form? And also, how does that play into the main character, T'Challa? How does T'Challa fit in this. You see what I mean? So what I like, about Evu's right. In matter of fact, this is just issue 2. But in 2 issues, she's humanized the character of T'Challa because he is an exile, similar to Christopher Priest's run. And I'm thinking she's taking cues from Christopher Priest's portrayal. This is just me, and anyone who read the Priest run or the Hunlin, excuse me, the Hunlin run before that, y'all can tell me in the comment section what you guys think. But to me, I feel like she's taking aspects of the character of T'Challa from Christopher Priest's run, where he didn't feel like he was doing everything he could for his people. You know what I mean? And he had internal battles. You know what I mean? Trying to be king, Black Panther protector, all of that. It still showed that emotional side. As far as like, what is a person with this much power when he gets down? How can he get himself back up? And right now, coming from it, she didn't ignore the run. She didn't ignore the previous run that we can all agree was a hot pile of garbage pail juice. But what Eve is doing now is she's making T'Challa compelling, because now, since he is in exile, he's among the people. And I like that. He's in Burning T'Chaka, learning the people, understanding the people. You know, spoiler alert, has a regular like a regular smuggler 9 to 5. And and technically he's king. He's still king of Wakanda to me. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, Lord Voldemort or the whoever y'all call him, whatever he did prior to that, I don't care. This is still king of Wakanda. And to me, what they're doing is they're making this very compelling in a way where you're able to understand T'Challa. Now you're sitting down with T'Challa. How does it feel to be in exile? How does it feel to go through this type of things? Shuri is playing the supporting character, which if you look, she's right here in the hologram down here. And I'm not going to go over the actual comic, but I'm just going to kind of scroll through Reign of Dust Part 2. Eve Ewing, what I'm liking about Eve Ewing's run is that you're getting 2 perspectives. You're getting the people that you're hearing the conversations with, and you're getting, T'Challa. And you're getting his point of view. It's almost like Batman and the way that they do Batman. You get Batman narrating what's going on in Gotham, right? But then you get to see the Batman because you're getting to see the integral layers of what's going on in Gotham. You see why, Batman is important to Gotham, the crime and all of that. You're now getting to see that in the world of Wakanda through Burning T'Chaka. And I think this is the most interesting take, because we haven't seen the different cities of Wakanda before in this particular type of detail. Now, why is this important to T'Challa? Matter of fact, I'm gonna full screen this. Why is this important to T'Challa? The reason why this is important to T'Challa is that the more he gets to learn the world around him from a humanistic standpoint, the more he fight for it, and the more he feels, sympathy and understanding for the people. Spoiler alert, that's T'Challa with the hair wrap, but it's a hologram. You know what I mean? But he's getting to talk to common folks as just being a dishwasher. And how humbling is it king to come down to be able to be amongst the people? That's key. I think that's the magic of this run, is that they're having T'Challa, be amongst these people in a way where it's not forced, it's not It's not silly. You know what I mean? Uh, it's not, in any type of way disrespectful. It is a way for T'Challa just to be able to get next to the people. So when you're fighting for the people, if you know what the people are going through and you got an understanding of the people, you know, it makes you want to fight for the people even harder because you're down in the ground roots level. How many times have we talked about how politicians and different people don't know what's going on, you know, within the people because they're not down there with the people. They only come around during election time when you want my vote, but you're not down here when everything is going down. You know what I mean? And the good thing here is that, you know, flip it on the T'Challa side of this, from what he's going through right now, I thank God that he has a support system with his sister with Shuri. She's still there. She's still his support system, being the secondary character, a supporting character, not taking over, not doing anything. Well, I could be Black Panther. I mean, Hudlin's run, she got to be Black Panther. It didn't work out for her, but she's being a supporting character now because we know the ultimate goal is for him to go back and rule Wakanda again. But this time, you're ruling Wakanda with an understanding of what the people need and what the people want, so you could be a better king. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I will give the props to the Black Panther movie is that you seen him amongst the people and wasn't nobody like, oh snap, the king. You know what I'm saying? And freaking out and all of that. He was amongst the people. You know what I mean? Also in this, you're getting interesting dynamics of the villain. You know what I mean? And understanding of a villain. Is she a villain, or is she going to turn around and be a anti-hero? I think you pronounce her name is Bisa. Uh, I think it's Biasa, or it could be Biasa, but I'm thinking it's either Bisa or Biasa. But I'm loving her character because I'm wondering, is this the character that you notice? Not saying she's like the cat into his Batman or whatever, but you're getting to understand of the dynamic of this person. You know what I mean? Which you are. You're getting a dynamic of what this person is, what they're doing, and they're not besting, you know, as cool as this character is not besting the King of Wakanda, which I love this panel. This is awesome. This panel right here, this splash shot, absolutely amazing. And again, the way that she's writing these characters, you know, feels authentic. You know what I mean? You're introducing a female character that feels authentic. There's a reason for it. We're gonna get to the reason, but there's a reason for what is going on. She's slick. You know what I mean? She got out the handcuffs, so she's slick. So it's a reason for this to be built. And then you're also getting crime families. Like, I always thought, like, people played it safe with Wakanda. Like, Wakanda, yeah, this is technological marvel that has been introduced ever since Fantastic Four number 52. And I get that. But the dynamic of any place is people. There's good and bad people. We shouldn't have delusion of grandeur. Just everybody's good. They may try to make the Jabari tribe, kind of bad, and everybody's good. You know what I mean? You have to have dynamics of people who want to take over and want to do particular things because they think that they can do it better. Everybody has that. You know what I'm saying? Hell, there was a song by Tears for Fears that everybody wants to rule the world. There's someone who thinks they can do it better. You know what I'm saying? And when you're getting this dynamic inside the world of Wakanda, when it's time for T'Challa to face these different obstacles and different people and understanding, the dynamics of why this family wants to do certain things, then you will understand more T'Challa being a hero and why he is so important as a hero. You know what I mean? And I like this. And it did seem like Eve Ewing, um, listen to recast T'Challa because the way that she's presenting the characters in here is setting up T'Challa to be able to have new foes, is setting T'Challa up to know the people, know the you're exploring the world of Wakanda, and now you're building new villains and new situations where this character has no choice but to be able to take down these families as these families are trying to, you know, rule the lands in their own form of fashion, you know. And you even see over here, this is Deathlock fighting Captain America, and for some reason, I don't know why this look like it's the black Captain America, but Captain America. You know what I mean? But you're seeing, you know, uh this African crime family that wants to do certain things. I like that. Give him more compelling villains. You know what I mean? More compelling villains so we can have more compelling stories. So these particular things that we're setting up now in issue two, issue one, and issue two could go to issue 50, issue 60. I mean, I miss the days where we were issue 68, we're issue 110 in this run. You know what I mean? I do miss that. If we need to build that. And I believe Eve Ewing is doing that. Just introducing Deathlock in this with this family, makes it even more dynamic. But also what makes this more dynamic, more, great, to me, is that you have T'Challa by himself. You know what I'm saying? Contemplating things by himself. No Storm. Sure, he's on the comm link, but he is by himself. Listen, lifting major weights. God dog, my man over here. You know what I'm saying? Beefing up with that with the dumbbells over there. You know what I mean? But he's by himself. You know what I'm saying? Doing what he needs to do, uh, getting an understanding. And let's keep it real. This doesn't they drew him so he didn't look like Chadwick. And again, this is why recast the child is so important. I'ma still say it to the top of the mountaintop, even if others don't. I'ma still do. And, there's other great actors that could take over the role because he doesn't look like the previous T'Challa from the previous run. He looks completely different, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like that he looks different. You know what I'm saying? He actually looks like a older, you know what I'm saying, like a mid-30s African dude. I'm not even gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? But I like that. You know what I mean? And they're showing, you know what I'm saying? He's, you know, the hologram is allowing this Ezzy or Aziz, it's allowing T'Challa to get closer to the people. And again, I like that. You need T'Challa to get closer to the people. You know what I'm saying? And allowing Shuri to be the support to T'Challa. And again, Eve is doing a great job of showing T'Challa. T'Challa just by himself. T'Challa contemplating things. T'Challa leaning on his family. You know what I'm saying? In certain things, but she's saying that how much she need him. You know what I mean? Um, but he has something that he needs to do, and she's supporting him like a supporting character should do. And again, a lot of people didn't like the claws on the end, like like a Wolverine type claw or whatever. I have no problem with that. It makes him even, you know what I'm saying, even more dangerous. This is to me, this is the most dangerous version of T'Challa, and I'm gonna tell you why. He was exiled out of his country. All he's doing is trying to get peace. You know what I'm saying? And I love this. He is happiest being, he is happiest, be he king or peasant who finds peace in his home. I love that. How does he have peace? You know what I'm saying? The peace is in his home. You know what I'm saying? So of course he's going to get back to being king again, but these are building blocks for the character of T'Challa. And this is I love this. I've experienced the king component and still reasoning through the peasant component and the peace. You know what I'm saying? And think about that. I've experienced the king component and still reasoning through the peasant component. I'm still trying to reason with this. I could just be if I want to take it back over, I could, is what they're saying. But I need to get this peasant component so I can understand. It's almost like it coming to America where he stripped his pussy robes and he went to work at McDowell's. He tried to be a regular dude. And will people accept him just being a regular person? And now we're getting into T'Challa as a regular person, and I love this. I think this is amazing because, again, it's building character dynamics, and that's what you wanna do. You wanna build a compelling character that everybody will understand, and Eve is doing a masterful job so far building a compelling, character. Even bringing Nightshade in, and Nightshade, is, mainly in Luke Cage. I haven't man, I seen Nightshade in I don't think I've seen Nightshade in a Black Panther comic since, like, the Priest run. I wanna say this is the last time, but maybe I'm wrong or whatever, but Nightshade being in here, dope. And again, tying a lot of other Black comic book heroes and villains together, I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like that. And again, she's playing a supporting character. Look, she got the hospital. T'Challa right now. You know what I mean? But again, you're seeing what the people are saying. Because again, it's good to have a king, but if you don't know about his people and you know, why it's so important that we understand the people, then maybe it's even harder to understand the motivations of the hero wanting to bend the city. Like if I was Batman, it's no way in hell I want to wake up to Gotham every day. It's probably why I beat people up every night. The city sucks. There's no happiness, no nothing. But I mean, he could be an elected politician. You know what I'm saying? But I guess all of those are so corrupt that he got to go around and find out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's Batman. You know, they did make this character Biasha. I think I'm Bisha or Bisa. I ain't gonna lie. They drew her, man. She looked good. I ain't gonna lie. She fine. Got green and yellow on. I love that. And to me, I love that color scheme too, because I don't think she's a villain. I think she's gonna be probably an anti-hero. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to say a love interest to T'Challa, but I think she's going to be, a character that's going to come back later on is going to be able to help T'Challa in that anti-hero. I want to say Catwomish type of thing, but maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? But again, her we getting to know this character too and her motivations. You know what I'm saying? And they got her with the hair. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's beautiful. I love this. The oh, I forgot his name. I'm gonna go up to it later on, but the illustrator of this is phenomenal. You know what I mean? The way that they have this character looking or whatever, you know what I mean, with the hair sticking out. I think she looks gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? But again, she's T'Challa a bad mofo. He just said perhaps it's time for us to get to know one another. And he over there with a book in his hand. This is cool. I love this. I love this. And this is, you know, besides the last run, I am enjoying this particular run of Black Panther. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying it. I think this is fun. But his character development, you're actually spending time with T'Challa. And yes, does he need to get his licks back on everybody who did him wrong in that last run? Absolutely. But what I do like is they rebuilding T'Challa from the ground up without taking anything away from what makes T'Challa great is, the intellect, the strategist. You know what I'm saying? Him just popping up in her house and he didn't even know. That stuff that was missing in that last run. Him being confident, him stripping of even though he's king, he's amongst the people, and he's a king for the people. And that I absolutely enjoy. I really like this run. And I hope Eve Ewing continues to shine in this run because she's doing an amazing job to me so far.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
All right, you already know we got to start wrapping it up. Let me talk about my $100 giveaway because I appreciate everybody who is liked in who has subscribed to the channel, who shared this, man. I appreciate you guys. So let me tell you what you can win once I hit 2,000 subscribers. What's up? This your man Dre Mac. Want a chance to win a little bit of my money?
Got my money?
Well, all you got to do is like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and hit the bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. You know why? Because I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers.
Baby needs shoes. My wife needs clothes.
Once I hit 2,000 subscribers, if you like, share, and subscribe to this channel, you will actually have a chance to win a $100 gift card.
Message.
Again, like, share, subscribe, share with your friends. Once I hit 2,000 subscribers, I'm giving away $100. Want a chance to win? All you got to do is do that, and I'll see you on the other side. Hopefully, you're the winner. All right, so hopefully, you know what I'm saying, once I hit 2,000 subscribers, who's ever on that live that day can be able to win a $100 gift card. So I want to be able to give away because I appreciate you guys for all the things that you guys do. Again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace. Well, peace and vibe higher, y'all. I let the top back on the forehead today. So y'all take it easy, man. If you came this far, then I appreciate you, man. Where my outro at? Let me get me and my forehead get out of here. If you came to this part of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you want to get a little bit more personal with me, make sure that you follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe higher.